So if you're a first-time home buyer and you're looking at San Diego County, I'm going to take you in this video through a few different neighborhoods that you should consider. Awesome for first-time buyers, and specifically because sometimes the average or median price point in these neighborhoods is on the higher end, but there's lower prices available, which means that you have an opportunity to build equity into the future and not fall into the trap that so many do fall into, which is buying the most expensive home in the most right in a neighborhood. It's not what you want to do. Instead, these neighborhoods will let you as a first-time buyer be well protected with higher priced homes around you as you start your journey as a home owner with a lower entry point. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm going to show you the good, bad, the ugly, everything in between about all these neighborhoods that you're going to want to know about, and we're going to get after it right now. Okay, we're going to kick off in San Marcos. By the way, there was a thorough video on this channel about San Marcos, so if you like what I have to say and you want to learn more about it, feel free to go there. Or of course, you could always go to the comments. I've pinned the first comment where you can access me by text, phone, even set up a Zoom call, and we're doing it every single day with people just like you looking to make the move. Happy to do it and just make your move easy. So this neighborhood, San Marcos, is located just off two freeways, the 15 and the 78. So it's along the 78, but it is just west of the 15, west of Escondido. Pretty well located, easy access to zip across if you're going west and you want to access Carlsbad or Oceanside, or even go from there a little bit south to neighborhoods like Encinitas, Solana Beach, or on the east boundary there, which is the 15 freeway. You can get right over there, and I'm talking about in just a few minutes. And then you're zipping up north if you want to get into areas like Temecula and the Inland Empire, or if you're going to go on down south where you could easily access neighborhoods like Rancho Bernardo, Poway, Scripps Ranch, or even get down to Mission Valley or downtown San Diego. So really nice location, about 35, 40 minutes or so from the airport. So from that aspect, there's a little bit of drive to the airport, but what's nice about San Marcos is there's been a ton of investment going into San Marcos, a lot of development, a lot of new restaurants, a lot of it's a changing environment, no question about it. In fact, the golf course there on Lake San Marcos recently completely revamped, new cool little restaurants there. So it's a place that has a lot going on, and so some higher price points around you, like I said in the introduction, but I have it right here. Median price for a townhome condo, which is probably likely for a first-time home buyer, $688,000, which for San Diego terms is really a affordable, great price, especially considering that the median price for homes in San Marcos globally, $1,080,000. So if you can be in a $1,080,000 neighborhood and get in at say $680,000, $700,000, then you are significantly below that median price, which is a first-time home buyer is exactly what I'd want to be. So a really good example of that would be like the home that was sold on 579 White Sage. And if you take a look at this property, it actually has a standalone element to it, even though it is still officially a condo. But this property, you're talking about 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2-story property, about just under 1,200 square feet. And you're there for $717,000 that the property was sold for recently. So right there, well below, again, that median San Marcos price, and a pretty nice property at that. So that's what I think about when I'm thinking first-time home buyer. And what I like about it is that if you as a first-time home buyer, you were to suddenly find yourself with more people in the home, or your family structure changes, anything like that, there's room to do it in. And that very well could also turn into a really good hold if you did move to another property and you wanted to rent that out. It's the type of property that, depending on the interest rate environment, would have an opportunity to actually cash flow. So always happy to run that analysis for you. I should have mentioned, by the way, I'm Dan Beer Home Team at eXp Realty. And we love making these videos for you so you're the first to know of any changing market conditions. So make sure to subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so you're the first to know. So a few quick things about San Marcos. Number one is it is an educational hub within San Diego County. In fact, there is Cal State San Marcos located right there, which gives it very just vibrant vibe. There's breweries, there's just a lot of neat little kind of eclectic food spots that are there. Interesting, you'll notice that places will pop up that get popular in a place like South Park or North Park or Hillcrest, downtown San Diego, where you have that more metro living, and invariably you'll often find that they suddenly have a location in San Marcos. So it brings a little bit of that urbanness with it, and that's kind of a nice thing, I think, driven a lot by the youthfulness of just what the university is. For outdoor recreation, there's a lot going on, plenty of hiking trails. And if you're really a big hiker, it also gives you, because you have that close proximity to the 15 freeway, you can get out quickly to Poway and other areas that have some taller mountains. But there is hiking in San Marcos. There is, of course, the golf course there at Lake San Marcos. It's now called the Links. It used to be called St. Mark. So if you are Googling it or looking it up, if you see anything about St. Mark, that is now the Links. And they're putting money into the place. So it is looking really, really good. And in fact, there's even opportunities for camping. So that's a quick taste of San Marcos. We're gonna jump over now to our next neighborhood, which is going to be Escondido, a great place for a first-time home buyer. Escondido, as previously mentioned, is just east of San Marcos, right off the 15. And Escondido has a lot of variety to it. There's parts of it that are almost wooded, like in the hills, big property, lots of land. And then there's parts of it that are very urban, very, walkable. And within all of that, you could be in a studio, a condo, you could be in an apartment, or of course you could be on one of these large estates, which is again what I like about it. If I'm buying as a first-time buyer, I love and appreciate that that the median price point in Escondido is $867,000, but I can get in on a condo or a townhome with a median price point of $533,000. Here's an example. Now this example is actually a single family home. It's located at 1354 Maple Street, recently sold for $680,000. And it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, just over 1,100 square feet, 1,136 I believe, and it has a yard. Okay, so if I'm getting 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, which is kind of that quintessential all-American home, and I also have a yard, and I'm getting that at that price point, that's highly interesting to me, especially knowing that the median price for single-family homes in Escondido, is $867,000. So I love being at $680 versus the $867. I know I'm not at the top of the marketplace, and Escondido is a place that, again, just like much of San Diego, it's been developing internally, right? The infill development, the improvement of facilities. It is on the map. In fact, there's places in Escondido that people from all across the county love to go to. So Stone Brewing being one of the most successful microbrews in the entire nation, really maybe in the entire world. One of the most successful, and they're headquartered right there out of Escondido, and their facility is beautiful. So if you go and visit it, large dining room, really nice outdoor spaces, kids enjoy it, adults enjoy it, definitely worth going to. And then one of my favorite locations is a restaurant called Ventana, and Ventana is really unique because it's in this, maybe one of the craziest, most elaborate, I don't even know. It's like the Taj Mahal of Lexus dealerships. And then at the top of the dealership, you have this really awesome restaurant by the Cohen Restaurant Group, who have several restaurants all across San Diego County, and they are really good for the most part, all of them. And Ventana is certainly no exception to that. And just a really unique atmosphere. I love going there for business meetings. I love going there with the family. My kids like for me to take them there. So that is a nice place. And then downtown, or the historic downtown of Escondido, has theaters and little foodie spots. It's a place that really has a very, if you haven't been there, say, since 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you won't recognize it. It's revamped, a lot of really trendy places, and a good place to invest if you're trying to make sure you're not at the top of the market price-wise, and that you might have room to run and being protected by higher priced homes as a first-time buyer. And you can't finish the conversation on Escondido without mentioning the San Diego Zoo's Safari Park, or you might know it as the way I knew it when I was a kid, the Wild Animal Park. Wild Animal Park became part of the San Diego Zoo system. It's now called the Safari Park, but it's the same amazing place. You're talking about everything from zebras to giraffes, rhinos, out in this gigantic field, acres and acres, hundreds of them, that is meant to basically replicate like the Serengeti, and it is awesome. You can take the tram around it all and observe, gazelles, animals that we are not used to seeing, especially not outside of a little space like at a traditional zoo. I'm talking roaming space. And elephants, by the way, just awesome. And so you could go around it, but what's really special is you could take an actual safari through it and actually end up feeding these animals, touching these. It's awesome. You could also camp on their grounds. And so it's really one of the fun things to do here locally. And that is the San Diego Safari Park San Diego Zoo Safari Park, located in Escondido. And by the way, before we jump off of Escondido, you're, depending on where you are in Escondido, maybe 35, again, 40 minutes or so, just like San Marcos, to the San Diego airport. All right, next we're jumping over to Oceanside. And if you've been watching and following the channel, you know I'm a huge fan of Oceanside for all the development that's going on there. And if I'm thinking and putting on my first time homebuyer hat on, or my investor hat, kind of the same thing, what I love about Oceanside is that median price point for a single family home, $872,000, while you can get a condo or townhome for $570,000 on a median basis. And I'm actually taking you today to 567 Gold, where you can be into a property for $720,000, single family home with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a little over 1,000 square feet. So here we've moved a lot further west than where we were previously. You're starting to get more of a beach lifestyle. 40 still or so minutes away from the airport. You're gonna find that that's kind of a common thread in our North County neighborhoods, where all 3 of these have been so far. And the thing about Oceanside, though, is you also have pretty good proximity, maybe 40, 45 minutes, to the Orange County airport called John Wayne. So all of a sudden, you're within about 40, 45 minutes of 2 major airports with destinations that are, you just have a lot more direct flights, with that location. If you do need to go to LAX for any reason, Los Angeles, maybe you're making a big international trip, well, you are a lot closer than people say on the southern part of our county, who are going to be an extra 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away from LA. With that, I want to just tell you a little bit more about that property so you get an idea of what that kind of money will buy you. It's actually kind of upgraded, right? It's renovated. There's some new materials in it, some new flooring materials, kitchen materials, and one of my favorite things about it is no HOA fees. So that is a really good property. And again, if I'm putting my investor hat on, which is kind of the same as my first time buyer hat, well, you're talking about a property that I very well might be able to cash flow as an investment when I'm done living there, when I'm buying home number 2 or home number 3, and I'm still holding on to this property. Depending on interest rates, you might have a very reasonable cash flow out of it. And of course, all the tax advantages that come with that. So I like Oceanside for that reason. From a financial standpoint, again, I'm protected in that I can be under that median price, but still have a really nice place to live. Things to know about Oceanside that you're gonna enjoy. And by the way, we have a full-length featured video right here on the channel on San Diego neighborhoods that you should check out. But the pier and all of the development along it, the restaurants, the cafes, everything, I walk you through all of it in our Oceanside episode here on the channel. So make sure you check that out. And of course, it has always been known as a military town just because Camp Pendleton is very short ways away. But make no mistake about it, it's not exclusively military by any stretch of the imagination. It's of course still a minority, but a very valued minority in the neighborhood. It's a patriotic place. It's a place where we appreciate them, and that we are so proud to have representation of our military and our armed forces in Oceanside. And the thing that just certainly just jumps out at you right away is the change in the culinary scene. I mean, one of my very favorite restaurants, bar none, that I've been to in years really, is in Oceanside. Some of my favorite coffee shops are in Oceanside, and more, we're finding ourselves going to dinner to just enjoy a day, walk the beach, walk the pier. So you'll want to experience that. From a location standpoint, it's really nice. Again, you have that proximity to Orange County, but you can get down to Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Cardiff by the Sea has just great location. Unless you are going to be making a lot of use of, say, downtown San Diego. If you are working in downtown San Diego, my opinion, a little far, at least for my taste, but that's of course a personal call, something I definitely want to warn you on. Now let's focus in on a neighborhood that we haven't talked as much about on the channel, but frankly, we are due to do an entire feature on. And it's because it is such a good neighborhood and it has gone underrepresented, no question about it, here on this channel. And it's San Carlos. San Carlos is one of my favorite things that just immediately pops into my mind is it has amazing proximity. I mean, it's at the foothills of one of the best hiking regions in all of San Diego. And that's Mission Trails, anchored by probably the most popular mountain in Mission Trails called Cowles Mountain. And that being one of 5 peaks that are most popular there. And in fact, there's something called the 5 Peaks Challenge that if you're into hiking, that's people doing the 5 peaks all in one day. Recommend it, lots of fun. I digress, let's get back to the real estate. But I just do love that aspect about it. From a location standpoint, you're really not far at all from just zipping into the downtown area, the metro area, Mission Valley. And the reason for that is that it has an ideal location. On its west boundary, it has the 15 freeway. On its eastern boundary, the 125, so those run north and south. And then just north of it, it has the 52 freeway running east and west. And then on the south side of it, the 8 freeway, which runs east and west. And that 8 freeway running all the way from literally Point Loma all the way east to Phoenix and beyond. Actually, I believe it goes all the way across the country to Atlanta. So when you're in San Carlos, you have all of this opportunity depending on traffic patterns, depending on what's clogged up, what's not, where you're going. You can kind of get everywhere really, really quickly. And so that's something I appreciate about it. Now let's visit the values. Here's something I love. Median home price for single family home, $977,000. Condos and townhomes, $502,000. Okay, and that gap is something I'm going to love as an investor or a first-time homebuyer. Excellent example of that would be the property that recently sold on 6924 Hyde Park Drive, Unit 121. We're looking at a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,014 square feet at $529,000. So way under that median single-family home price. And again, as just broken record on that one. I love having that gap because as a first-time buyer, I do not want to be at the top of the market. As an investor, I do not want to be at the top of the market. And so for that reason, for its proximity to nature, to just San Diego amenities in general, like all of, zipping across to the ocean or getting down to downtown and just having the freeways everywhere, even getting to really cool little towns like La Mesa, for example, which are so close by due to the freeway access, and it has a great little walkable town there in La Mesa. It makes me love San Carlos as an investor / first-time home buyer. Now, San Carlos is quiet in and of itself, okay? So when we've been talking about places like San Marcos or Oceanside, even Escondido for sure, much more in terms of commerce, in terms of restaurants, definitely they're going to win out in that respect. What I like about San Carlos is we've also now dropped the price point to $529,000, and we've gained a lot of proximity to more areas across San Diego County that are going to be just accessed quickly, right? I'm talking within 10 minutes, 12 minutes, you're just in an entirely different neighborhood, while some of those other ones might have access to 1 or 2 other type of neighborhoods in quick proximity, but that's about it. You'd have to be then driving a little bit more. Another real big bonus about San Carlos is we have also gotten closer to the airport. Instead of being a 40-minute drive, we're now about a 25 or so. So a lot more palatable if you are making the constant drive for work or for pleasure, leisure, whatever it might be, to the airport. If you're a traveler, you're gonna like that. And with that, my friends, we are gonna jump over to Serra Mesa. Again, not a neighborhood that gets talked about a ton, but one that certainly anybody in the know in San Diego knows about, and especially investors and first-time home buyers. I mean, to me, again, one and the same. What I love about Serra Mesa, again, location. Now, Serra Mesa actually has a lot in common with San Carlos. The difference being that while it also has freeways on all 4 sides of it, and that doesn't mean that everyone's living on top of the freeway, by the way. You can find a very quiet location. Should have said that about San Carlos as well. But what's nice is in Serra Mesa's case, you have the 805 on the west side, the 15 on the east side, so you're west of the 15, and then, of course, you have the 8 to your south, and you have the 52 to the north. What is also cool about it is you have Montgomery Field, which is a smaller local airport. If you have any use for that, you have any kind of desire to fly a plane, get your pilot's license, anything like that. It's a cool little airport that's there. But my favorite thing about the location is that it's very residential. It's very quiet. Not a lot going on by any means. I mean, I'm just talking think a true just residential neighborhood, but really close to it, literally next to it, is Kearny Mesa. And all that it has to offer in terms of all kinds of cuisine from across the world, especially a lot of Asian cuisine, which is one of my favorite regions to eat from. And so I find myself driving to Kearny Mesa, Claremont, that entire area frequently for food. If you're living in Serra Mesa, you'd be mean, depending on where, you could be riding your bike, right? Or you're just making a much shorter drive than the majority of the rest of San Diegans are, because we all love eating there. That's one of my favorite things. And the airport proximity, 20 minutes, so we're even getting a little bit closer. Now, let's talk real estate. Median home price for a single family home, $950,000. If you're going townhome or condo, you're in the 500s, 555 being the median. So again, that same relationship where you're gonna have an opportunity to be well below your neighbor's price points, which is a great thing as a first-time buyer or an investor. With that, let's take a quick look at a property. I'm gonna take you now into 5846 Mission Center Road, Unit C. Now this is a $770,000 sale, but it was beautiful, it was well done, and check this out. You're talking 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and 1,443 square feet. So large property for the money. Really beautifully done, well located, doesn't need a penny of investment into it. And you are not only below the median price point of Serra Mesa, but you're below the median price point of San Diego County. So if I can have those dynamics in a great neighborhood, in a great location, with investment, with properties that are being renovated all around me, I mean, put it this way, any of my investor friends, if we even sniff out, hey, there's a property in Serra Mesa that, my investor friend just picked up, I'm like, oh my God, the guy just, good for him, right? Like I wish it was me. So if you're going to be looking for a property in Serra Mesa, you're going to have a great location. You are going to be in at a price point that, again, hopefully will cash flow depending on interest rates. And you'll always want to ask us about that. So I've pinned in the comments a way that you could easily text, call, email me, or even set up a Zoom call, and we'll jump on video together. I'll answer all your questions. That is a look at some of the most investable first-time home buyer neighborhoods in San Diego County. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, tap that bell for notifications. I'm Dan Beer with Beer Home Team, 4 times recognized by the Inc. 5000, and we're helping you, people like you, every single day make a move. We just want to talk and make it easy for you. So whether your move is in 9 days, 9 months, 9 years, that's irrelevant to us. We want to be a resource. We'll see you soon.